Welcome, Infinite Intelligence. So, this is my new history. I decided to give today some grace. Okay, I worked in the morning. I worked out in the morning, but I haven't worked out this evening. So, I was thinking of working around at something AM. So, at least there's a period of rest. I'll get to that point where I'll do 1 day rest, 1 full day rest, right? It's a gradual step towards that, always. So, this is my new history. But the topic of today is why I pick one for eternity. Why I pick one. To me, it's very simple. The way I perceive the world is a lot, right? How I can only see God in everything. Even the small child that is around me complains that any small thing I'm saying God, God, God. Because she asked me, is she fine? And I was like, God is why you're always fine. No matter what you do, you're always fine because God is, you know. And the reason why I pick one, right, is the same reason. Because God is infinite intelligence. Because God is love. It's love that is infinite intelligence, actually, in my own understanding. How I understand it is God is love, and love used itself to bear all that can exist. And because love is infinite intelligence, right? Everything is equally infinite intelligence. It's just that for love to express infinite intelligence, it has to be genuine positivity without negativity. That's the difference because you can't be God and you're not expressing love and function as infinite intelligence. And how I understand this, right, is why that one I desire, that one I pick, right, is just infinite intelligence. Why? Because her feeling good is always present, genuinely, right? Her feeling good is genuinely her free will in the union, and that makes me interacting with infinite intelligence. Because when she's feeling good, she's genuinely presently expressing infinite intelligence. So if she's not feeling good, I'm not interacting with infinite intelligence. I don't know if you get it. That's why it's more important to me every time that she's always feeling good because I'm conscious of this. Now, how I perceive the world is so wide and vast at the same time, deep. It's infinite as I am because my whole life I've grown to see that there is no meaning in life without love. Because I wasn't forced to understand this, I derived at the conclusion, right, by God walking through me and expressing itself through me. I try to see different analysis of life, how life can turn out, right? And the best only option that makes sense to anyone is love. Because it's love that makes anything good. So I'm not even banking on anybody being good, but love within them. That's why I can only but trust the divinity within all. And you see, this love that is within is breathing happening to us. It happens consciously or unconsciously, most often than not. And for me, it's the awareness of breathing happening to us that has grown me to this point of seeing God in all. When we meditate, we bring our attention to the only thing that gives us life, which is our breath. Our attention is not on the mundane things, it's on the closest thing we have to spirit, which is breath. So, meditation is not something that stops as you increase in consciousness, as I heard someone express. It grows to the point of you understanding that the breath that is flowing through you is always conscious and always listening, right? And you can keep feeding it attention till it actually decides to show its face to you directly. When it shows its face to you directly, that is like a sweet kind of feeling, affection, because another synchronicity. I don't know if you can see it. So, most times I find myself in a state of wondering why I would want to pick something else. Because I love just one. Not because I don't love every other person. Naturally, my nature is to love. I express love effortlessly. It's not something I'm trying to do. It's something that is naturally who I am, right? And so I believe strongly that there is one that deserves that unconditional love because that one also desires to express only unconditional love to who they love, right? And it's only fair for unconditional love to meet unconditional love. Genuinely. That's how I see it. So me choosing one for infinity has a lot to do with me. Personally, it takes me time to get that closeness. I take my time to build relationships. I can take years and I can take one day to cut that relationship that I have been building for years. Not because it stopped being valuable to me, but because I am not good over anyone. And to be honest, there's no relationship I would prefer over my relationship with what gives me life. That is my sincere and frank truth, to be frank and sincere. And this even is why being with one for infinity, right, is as a result of choosing this breath that gives me life. I'm not being with someone different from this breath. I'm just being with someone who is exactly this breath and this life force within me, but from a different eyes that desires me. That's how I understand it. Love is not forced. Love is not bought. Love is the only thing that cannot be contained because it's infinite. But a lot of us have different understanding of love because of so many misconceptions. I hardly see people that have personal understanding of love other than what is taught. I see people that have taught understanding of love more often, and they think it is something distant away from them that can infect them, and they don't want to be infected with it. And I'm just shaking my head. If you only knew that it is what is flowing through your nostrils, right? I wonder if you would think the same way, because maybe you would want to stop breathing just so that you won't be infected with love. But as long as you are breathing, right, you are a tool to be used positively. That is just the truth. Whether you are consciously aware of this or not consciously aware of this. So, Adam, to me, Adam, the story of Adam and Eve. The only job Adam had was to spoil Eve, literally take care of her. Imagine someone that, right, was just created yesterday, doesn't know her whereabouts. She's literally just a big baby, right? And the only job you had was to take care of her. You had all the time to name everything before she came into play. There was no work that was more important than being with her. But even that little assignment became something that he neglected and then blamed the snake for deceiving her. When there was no need for a snake to deceive her if he was going to be present. If he was present, the snake would not come and deceive her. The snake wouldn't even approach her because she won't be defenseless. She won't be alone. She will be in communion with who she loves. To be in communion with someone you love is free will. It's not a must. It is desired of love, but not enforced by love, because love is free will. And that is why, for me, I want anyone that would want to spend the rest of their life with me to consider every aspect of me, right? Not just the sweet part alone, the part that makes everybody cringe around me, right? Which is the consistent repeating of God, 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 God in everything. And the ADHD gift is what makes that possible, because I'm hyper focused on source itself. It is my ADHD gift that makes me hyper focused on source itself. Most times when I work out, I receive the feeling of expanding my muscle. It's not something that feels like hurting, because I understand it's increasing, so it's going to have that expression. And I see that the way I perceive it makes it the feeling different. Working out naturally does a lot of expanding. I still feel like I haven't started working out adequately or enough, because I only do the workout I can do, right? And for me, it's not enough, because I have leg workout I want to do, right? I don't want to have skinny legs, because right? I want my calf to feel as, but looking at myself on camera, I don't see that I have really increased so much. And that's because sometimes it's hard to forget. Sorry, I mean, sometimes it's easy to forget how I used to look before when my hands were much tinier. But I think it's caught on camera. You can always see my live stream of the old me, how it looked like. I can't go back to that version of me. Why? Because my growing is something that happens every time, and I'm more excited to increase growing every day as much as I can. And growing is not about this body, it's about here. This is just an expression of what happens within the spirit mind because I exist within a spirit mind that I'm conscious of, right? I had instances where I have seen this spirit mind personally. You know, it's funny because diving into the sea of consciousness and going deep into the bottomless pit of it, right? I could see exactly why God is all that exists. Literally, there's nothing aside God in all of existence. And so they are all just being watched by God, like literally. And I mean literally. There's no one that escapes the gaze of God, to be frank and sincere. It is something that nobody can escape because God is infinite in nature. Jeez. I don't know that the super glue has poured. I used to have a super glue. It was not intentional. It just spoke this bad shit. Another synchronicity. I don't know if I catch it. Yeah. So yes, most times I act on it, but I wasn't just asked to do so. I usually love to follow the God within me because it has always scaled through from me. Before this light came, right, I was told to bring the light. So I was resting after my workout. I kind of was had certain things on my list to do, right? Knowing that they are going to bring the light as I was told. Because it wasn't something I was confused or second guessing. Because every time this God within me, this breath flowing through me has never failed me. It has always come true for me. And because that is always true in my life, I don't have any doubt when I'm told certain things. I follow to the latter because it always comes out true, right? It's something that over the years has made me see that it's silly to not bank on it. It's always true, always authentic, and always knows the direction of what's next. So, following the God within me is what I want everybody else to do. To follow the God within them, not follow the God within me. I mean, because God within me is only for me. It's for me. It's not for all. Right. What I want you to do is know that there's always God within you that you need to follow. And that God within you will never copy because it has its own mission, vision, and goals. Everything that expresses infinite intelligence is nothing less. So, for the longest time, I didn't grow up wanting to move from one person to another, one person to another. I saw that relationships didn't make any sense, right? And I think I carried my grandfather's blood. That guy, he's one of the people that bust my head. When other men were having plenty wives, he chose to have only one wife. And because of that act, his wife became like the envy of the town. Because it's now became, how would everybody have how many wives and only you have one wife? The other wives became jealous that what is so special that he, a man will pick only one, right? But it didn't stop him from having plenty children enough. And because of this, they killed a lot of his children, right? Out of envy eyes. And the ones that managed to, you know, survive, they made sure that they didn't do much with themselves because of the envy and jealousy. Even the children called their mother a witch because of how the society had or the community had placed their mother as the evil eye just because she married one. Like her, she was really wife, right? To this her husband. It didn't mean that she didn't get beaten. Or if there was fish inside the food, he would beat. Don't be stupid from her. And it was the reason why my dad refused to be like his father, to be someone that will be violent. But yeah, I learned from all the stories, but I learned from love itself, right? Because love is free will, and I'm not understanding how you can be with someone and they're scared of you. Someone that should be your team player, someone that should be, you know, interested in what makes you feel good, as well as you're interested in what makes them feel good. Like when I pick one for eternity, is because talking about God and love and spirit, it's not something I'm trying to foster one to talk about. I'm not trying to be boring, to make a day boring by talking about God. It's not something that she's questioning, why are you always talking about God? Or it's not something that makes her cringe. Because imagine if I'm with someone that any small thing I say about God makes you cringe. Then how do we want to stay together for eternity? It's not fair for someone to be cringing for eternity. The reason why I even want to stay far away from my sis is that she never sees me. Not because I don't want her to enjoy life. I want to ensure that she's having fun, probably on a beach, enjoying herself, living the best life possible. And I know that once she's like that, she'll not even remember me. And that's the kind of thing I prefer. She's so occupied that she can't even remember my absence, right? I want to keep her so busy that she can't remember my absence. Because if it's possible for me to give you something that you prefer, right? Something that makes you excited, that my absence will not be felt, I'll be happy to do that. I'm someone that loves to see you smile, even if it means that I'm not going to be present. That's who I am naturally. So the idea I have is to set my siblings on probably get them vacation, you know, or probably whatever catches their, you know, their bubble, whatever is their fancy, right? Because you're not spirits like I am, and ensure that you're at least growing in their own unique ways, enjoying themselves, feeling good, and they can be so caught up in whatever they're doing that they forget about my absence. And I'm happy with that because it doesn't, my presence is not something that I'm negotiating. I'm not trying to put myself in a space that would think, would, you know, feel like, what is this? Why is this one always saying God, God, God? Why are you so deep? I don't want to make you feel choked with my presence because my presence is a lot, right? I can't stop myself from speaking of God because I can't exist without God. But if you can exist without God, I understand it. But it doesn't stop the fact that you would grow into the understanding that God is everything. It's just your pace of that understanding and my pace of that understanding are two different pace. And I can't wait for you to, I can't force myself or walk on eggshell not to mention God just to make you feel comfortable. And for me, naturally, I can't help but see God in everything because breath is God, love, right? Love happening to us. And it's exciting every time to know that I'm always in the presence of God. I'm always with God. Some people think God is far away from them, and I wonder how. And you are breathing. How can you think God is far away from you and you have breath flowing through you? Do you think it's possible to create the breath you have? But you see, it is not their fault because that is still God experiencing that kind of reality through them, just to prove that love, right, is the only power that can exist. So, growing to this understanding of love, oneness, is why I can't see anything but free will. I always prefer what you would rather do, honestly. Even if what you rather do is to slam the door on my face. Because what you rather do, honestly speaking, is the authentic rawness that I prefer to something that you are treating me a certain way because you feel I'm a certain person or you feel I'm a certain energy or you feel this is God or something like that. I don't want that. God, when I entered the sea of consciousness, to be frank and sincere, the only thing I found was God, right? And guess what? Even God, right, was like, I should go, I should give him space. Like, God does not want me to be attached to God. It's crazy. But God is not looking for something that is not free will. And even when it is free will, it is not looking for dependency. Imagine if God that we all exist within is not requesting, is the least interested in us being dependent on it. It wants us to express that which is it, within us, right? How much more a whole me? Why would I desire anything like I now understood why free will is so important to me because it is so important to God that even God is not wanting me to be attached to God. That my attachment to God feels like, oh, which kind of I've come again, like, and I'm like, God. Like the more I understand God, the more wowed I am, the more chilled I am, the more dazed I am. That God is not interested in anyone depending on it. It's interested in you experiencing Him or it, right? It's through that which exists within you. Because it is still God that used itself to bet all that can exist. And this God using itself to bet all that can exist is something that is engraved into my bones that I cannot stop myself from understanding. And so my attention is tailored around it. I cannot stop myself from understanding God is love. It's not something I choose to without it being who I am. And I don't even know how to explain at what point the choice was made because it's so massive. I didn't want this video to even exceed up to 30 minutes, but I can't stop how it's flowing. The sea of consciousness was like drowning in to see God because things that made it how I even entered the sea of consciousness was understanding that I am the sea of consciousness. And I was like, I am the sea of consciousness. The sea of consciousness is only where I truly exist. And the more I went into it, the more I didn't want to be apart from it. The more I didn't want to be anywhere else but in the sea of consciousness. And this knowing that only God exists is something that I can't shake. It now makes me more conscious more than ever before. It's not that I wasn't conscious. It just grew my awareness that all those times where I was saying God, 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 I was literally talking to something that was listening to me and just shaking his head like, you're always loving me. When would you not love me? Because I love God so much with all my heart, with all my being, that I don't think I can't love love, right? Because I am love. It's it's a constant ecstasy of love that I can't really express it to you if you're not feeling it. Because you literally have to feel God is love to understand where I'm coming from. And because God is love, right, is a truth of spirit. It's something that you literally want to feel. So the truth is nobody wants me other than the God they feel radiating from me. And I only want that God within me. And that God within me, right, is infinite intelligence. And for that infinite intelligence to be true, it has to feel good. So I'm not just trying to trap a young lady to be with me. I don't think it's a trap either to be with me. But yes, I want free will connection at all points. Because love without free will is chaos. It's what destroys homes. Imagine negativity that happens in the heart of a couple, right? Over different disputes is what grows into wrecking the relationship apart completely. And so I want to question, why should the relationship even start at all? If it's going to be end up wrecked, right? It shouldn't start, because I'm not interested in starting something that is going to end up coming apart. It's either I don't start at all. So I'm not looking for a temporary communion. I'm looking for something that is true in every sense of the way. And for it to be true, it can only be joined together by unconditional love, in the sense that it's unconditional love that makes both parties come together, because they both are people that desires to express unconditional love sincerely, genuinely, as who they are. And that is who I am naturally. So I don't understand why I should not be true to that. And a divine union, right, is about two, not more than two. So if you think you are doing polygamous poly relationship, you cannot operate a divine union, because for her to feel safe and that her nervous system completely loses any need to defend itself, she has to feel secure, and she can't feel secure when there's somebody else in the picture. That's just the truth. That, to be frank and sincere, no matter how much you think she is comfortable with another person, union was made for two initially. The origin of union is about two. That is why even when you want to have partnership, it's always about two parties, right? It just has a different way of expressing itself. But every partnership, every agreement is always about two. I don't mean three cannot agree, but the agreement is mainly two coming together, right? Two people agree, then they can agree with other people on different agreements, because the truth is every agreement would have a contract. So if you and I are agreeing, even if we're three people agreeing, we would agree individually, right? So it's still two, because there will be two agreements in six places, because, or in three places, right? It will still be, because the two of them has to agree together, and the third party has to agree with both two people. So it's still like a combination of the two of them. So yes, I'm rounding up. I would always pick one for infinity, and I only give one access to me for eternity, because I really can't take more than one. I can only welcome one in. I'm not so much of a public toilet, right? I don't know how to do more than one connection. Not because I can't connect with multiple people at once, but physically I can only regulate myself, right, to get comfortable with one energy. And that's because that one energy has chosen to be with me on free will, not something I'm forcing. It's not a forced union, it's a free will union. And so I can tell you that In everything, give thanks because truly, in everything, give thanks. Seeing that God is all that exists, I can tell you that even at that point, I picked God, not her. And God said, I did not create you to be alone, just to keep me company. Because I know that that's what you are thinking in your head. You just want to make sure that God does never feels alone, and your God is always having someone, and that is you. Because you are selfish. And the thing is, the reason why I'm expressing it this way is because if I tell you I am God, right, you will take it defensive that I am saying I am God because I was talking to myself and I can never be separate from myself. So God is not separate from you. God is never separate from you. When you encounter God, it will not look something different from you. It will look like you because it is you, literally, right? And so that is how I can express it right now. I don't think I have much words for it right now. And if I do have much more words, I would come out and express that evenly. So thank you for joining my life. Thank you for the understanding that you got from this. And I'd love to hear your own why you pick one, if you would. Though if you don't, I can understand. The society has not really encouraged picking one because everybody is now just trying to test everybody before they pick. You want to know how everybody tastes like before they make a choice. And I'm not interested. I'm not that kind of person that would be interested in that. I'm only interested in one. So that's where I am. And I'm not trying to force that one, right?